want to make the argument that people with very high IQs are innately and automatically drawn to cluster B personality disorder and just weird people in general. And it's because people with very high IQs are always looking to learn something new. They love challenges, and people who are highly intelligent often complain of boredom. They are programmed to search for the unknown. People with high IQs are very curious, and they love learning. So it makes sense that when someone with a high IQ meets a cluster B personality disordered person, or just kind of a weird person in general, someone who doesn't make sense, that they would naturally be curious to understand what's going on. Because people with high IQs tend to understand the environment very quickly. And when they don't, it can actually stimulate them intellectually. It's a challenge. It's something that deviates from the norm. And that's why people with high IQs are more likely to engage, even become friends with a cluster B personality disorder person over a person with a low IQ. People with low IQs reject the unknown immediately. People with low IQs are not curious. They're not really interested in discovering something new. Okay, I'm going to give a really great example of what I'm talking about. So let's say that you have someone, let's say you have a very high IQ and you're in a social setting and you bump into someone named Tina. And Tina says, "Did you hear the thunder storm earlier today? The thunder was so loud." Well, Tina's not giving you any new information. You already know that thunder is loud, and you're going to leave that interaction without any sort of intellectual stimulation. Okay? In contrast, let's say you bump into someone named Bob, and Bob says, "Did you hear that thunderstorm earlier today? The thunder was whispering to me." Well, okay, what? You're going to think to yourself, well, thunder is loud, so this is a contradiction. Thunder doesn't whisper. What are you talking about? Now you see that someone with a high IQ is more likely to be drawn in to this conversation. A person with a high IQ is driven by curiosity and the desire to learn, to discover the unknown. So the high IQ person will leave the interaction and will think, like, what did Bob mean by that when he said the thunder was whispering to him? You know, he's kind of weird. I'd like to learn more about Bob. So that's why people with high IQs, it's an explanation. To me, it makes sense why so many people with very high IQs become friends with cluster B personality disorder. And if you are a very healthy person from a healthy environment and you've never hung out with a cluster B before, then you can imagine how curious you would be to learn more about this person and why they're so weird and why are they contradicting themselves all the time. It doesn't make sense. Someone with a low IQ, when they meet Tina and they hear Tina say the thunder was loud, someone with a low IQ is going to feel very comfortable with Tina. It makes sense. So they're going to prefer to spend time with Tina over Bob, because when someone with a low IQ hears Bob say the thunder was whispering, someone with a low IQ, they're not innately curious. Therefore, they're going to reject the unknown. They're going to reject anything that is contradictory or confusing a lot faster than someone who is curious. So there you have it. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this idea. And I'm not saying that that this is not about victim blaming or saying that people, like, it's our fault that, you know, we wanted to get involved with cluster bees or we wanted to be friends with a cluster bee. Not at all. I'm just saying that this is one aspect of the dynamic. This is one reason that makes sense why we would be initially drawn in to a friendship with a cluster B personality disorder person. It doesn't excuse abuse or explain the abuse at all. It's just a small piece of the puzzle that I think is worth talking about, because for a long time I used to think I must be a complete moron. I must have a very low IQ because people with high IQs don't become friends with cluster bees. Well, I actually think the opposite now. So that's it. As always, stay strong and get toxic people out of your life. Bye.